Well, I'm back. So this is that bag, and as you can see, it's quite large. Let's measure. The bottom gusset is, it's a boxed bag, and it does have that June Taylor marked fleece in there, so it'll show you how, you know, to do your lines and whatnot. I'm trying to find my, oh, here it is. Oh, I think somebody turned my fan off in this room. It is so hot. Okay, so the bottom gusset is 5 by 13, right across the bottom where the seam is. So it's 5 by 13, and it's got quite a bit of change in the bottom. Must have fallen out of my wallet. Okay. It's very roomy in there. These are lens cleaners. They, it's quite big, and I mean, it would easily hold 3 to 4 loaves of bread if they were stacked one on top of the other. So if you can kind of picture that volume. And then it's got some super nice, long, comfortable, padded handles. The handles are, by the time you have them in your hand, they are 14 inches. So from where they attach to the bag to up here is 14. So that's a total of 28 inches. They're just, it's a nice size bag. But even though it has that fleece or batting in there, you can see that it would easily roll up and fit right into my other bag. Here it is, and it is full of my stuff. I mean, it is, I've got my wallet, my car keys, my mask, my sunglasses, all that stuff in there. And here is the tote bag that I rolled up, and look at this. It just literally fit right in there, and I can still zip it up, and off I go shopping. Today is Thursday the 29th. Tomorrow, of course, is Friday the 30th, and it is supposed to be a record-breaking high in the Pacific Northwest, Puget Sound region tomorrow. So, okay, we're just going to have to batten down the hatches and do the best we can. All right, so the third thing now that I wanted to talk about is this, and I did shoot some video of this a little earlier today. But I kind of want to look at this a little bit better. First of all, I need to show you a picture while we're talking about the jumper for Jessica, my youngest. It's a McCall's 1-hour jumper, and that's what it looks like. And this one comes in a size 4, which is what I need to make for Jessica. As you can see right here, it says petite-able. So if you wanted to make it even smaller, either you know, from shoulder to hem or back neck to hem, that's also an option. Or if you need to change the waist area, you know, make it shorter, that's also an option. So she's looking for something that has a seam in the front, and it's a little bit more visible on that red sample there. You can see there is a seam that runs down the front. So that was the style that she wanted. We don't want pockets, mid-calf length. So she wanted her jumper to be about here. So if we were going to be able to make this one, then the length would be right midway down her lower leg, from her knee down to her ankle, so about halfway. Unfortunately, this particular pattern, the small size is 10-12, and that is not going to work for her. So this is the fabric that I have chosen, and I bought 4 yards of this because I want my jumper to really just be a hugely long, super long maxi dress. It will have the elements of a jumper, just like so, but it will go way past my ankles and just be down on the ground. That's what I want. And I fell in love with this watercolor. It is so pretty. I love the garden colors, the blues and the purples and the greens. They're just mine. This one is for my daughter Candace, who is in love with the current toile trend. And right now this is really kind of a thing. You're wearing something that you love, the color that you love, the style that you love, so why not? Now it is a one-way design, so I'll have to be very mindful of that. We have the flowers, the stems, and if I can find one, a bird who is sitting on a branch, and here he is right here. He's so cute. He's just right there sitting on a branch. Probably looks upside down to you guys, but oh my goodness, how cute. Oh, there's actually 2. There we go. So here's a little one right here, and then there's a little bit bigger one right here. There is a splash of silver in this fabric. I don't know if you can tell, but it makes it very special. And I love, love, love the fact that this was in the quilting section of the fabric store. And then this is the fabric for Jessica. And when I bought this fabric, same day that we bought these two, I did not have a pattern in mind. So I didn't know how much I was going to need. And I honestly don't recall. I think it's 4. Okay, let's just see. I'll do a quick measurement. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So I bought 4 yards of this because I didn't know what I was going to get into. And I don't mind having extra fabric. I just can't stand not having enough. I know it's kind of wasteful to buy the extra, but I also bought it with the knowledge that I would be making tote bags. So this is a lovely, wonderful feeling flannel that looks like a wool tweed and is perfect for a jumper. So today I've got to get George back up onto my sewing table and get situated so that I can make some totes. And I'm just going to take my friction pin and draw a 1-inch square there, and the same thing on the other side. Okay, and this time I'm going to just use my regular Kai scissors. Alright, so here it is. The only thing I have left to do is get my handles cut. And one of the decisions that you need to make is, how do you want those handles to look? So I don't know if this is going to be enough fabric. I'm going to have to do some measuring, but I just cut 2-inch wide strips out of the leftover cowboy fabric that I happen to have. So let me go grab a different fabric for the handles. Alright, so I have a box of scraps. Because my fabric is a stripe, I can use any print that I want to. And George, you are so heavy. Oh my goodness. Wow. That was a workout. All right. I just realized I still have my buttonhole foot on George, so I'm going to take it off. And we're going to use, I think I'm going to go with my number 1. Oops. Okay, and I meant to tell you that I am stitching with a 2.5 stitch length. Alright. So the great thing about doing this is that now I have the width I need, and all I have to do is fold over about 1/4 of an inch on one side and about 1/4 of an inch on the other side. And then once I've got it all pressed, I can just stitch right down that seam right there, and I'll have a good beefy handle for my bag. I don't need something to be too small. So we have these clipped together, and my next step will be to just stitch right along this line where these two folded edges meet all the way down. I have to watch my thread. In fact, let's go ahead. I don't have a whole lot of thread left, so let's go ahead and get the bag taken care of. Two and a half inch stitch length, and I am going to lock my stitches at the top on both sides. Keeping an eye on the thread. Now you can draw a line where you want your stitches to be, keeping in mind, of course, that the farther up you go, the wider the boxed bottom will be, but the more narrow your bag will be. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, so this seam that's across the bottom, opening it up, kind of finger pressing, the side seam that runs up the side of the bag. Make sure that they're writing, the actual stitch line should be right on top, like so. Make sure this isn't folded under. And then for me, I'm stitching a 1/2 inch. With a locked back stitch on that side and the other side. And of course the other thing you can do if you feel like you want to or need to is pin to keep that together like it should be. Alright. Now I'm not going to cut these off. I'm going to let them just live in my bag. It's not going to be a problem. And at some point I may want to put a piece of cardboard in the bottom for stability. I don't know at this point. Alright, I'm going to turn my little bag out, push out this boxed bottom here, and this one here. And I'm going to measure. I'm going to see if yeah, okay, so we're 2 inches. Alright, so here's the bag. Looks like a perfect little size. Something, a toy for the kids. It's a perfect size. Little bag of candy. I don't know. Alright, so now you'll notice I don't have the top finished right here. There's two things I could do. One, I could just fold it under and fold it under again and stitch. That's the really easy way to do it. The other option is to face it. So I could do a hem on one long side of this and then turn this around, stitch it along the top like so. This would be folded under, and when I fold the new facing under. All I would have to do is stitch it down like so. I'm not going to do that because, for one, I want to save all of my little pieces to make handles, and number two, I don't really mind so much having the top folded under. I do need to straighten this out. There's a little bit of a bubble right there for me. Oh yeah, much better. Okay. All right. And it'll be an encased top, so it doesn't matter that it's not pinked. I'm just going to fold it under and then fold it under one more time to get that nice little finished edge across the top. And you could make this hem as big or as little as you want. The other way you can do it is fold it this way, stitch all the way around, and then fold this back this way, and you will get a very wide, thick hem, but a very short bag. Now, to give the other side the same appearance that we have on this side, which is a little wobbly, but it's going to be face down, I'm going to go ahead and stitch right along this seam line. So I'll have stitching here and stitching here. You could even do another row of stitching, you know, within, for that look that so many tote bags have. I'm just going to do one. I don't really want to waste thread just for appearance. If it were a construction issue, absolutely. So I stitched the bag together before I could put the handles to wrap all the way around. And I think for this little bag, it's not going to be that big of a deal if they don't. So I'm not going to stress out about it. What I am going to do is show you how you can attach the handle to the outside of the bag if you wish. You can also attach the handle to the inside of the bag if you wish. So you have options for both. Now, one thing you can do is measure from here to here for a specific distance. Or if you want them to be even and you don't really mind about this distance, just measure however many inches you want from the outside of the handle to the outside of the bag on both so that they're even. And then the number one thing is to make sure that your handle is not twisted, unless you want it to be twisted. It can be irritating. Truly, it can be irritating if it is. The other thing you can do is you can embellish the end of each of these. You could tie this in a knot like so, which adds just the cutest little touch. You would probably want to just hand stitch it down or stitch with your sewing machine just on the opposite, you know, down here on the opposite side of your little knot. The other thing you can do is add a ring. If you've got a metal ring to hang keys on, you can also do that. You could, in fact, tie the top part of your handle in a knot, keeping in mind, of course, that you'll be holding on to a little knot, which you probably don't want to do. So that's that. You can make the handle, let's just pretend like I've cut this in half. So you can make the handle shorter and attach it up here like so, so that you have a bit of a shorter handle like that, which, to be honest, that's going to be my option for this bag. I like the way the proportion of this size handle to this size little market bag. But the other thing I wanted to show you is, I guess I'll go ahead and cut this in half. I am going to cut off the selvage And I'm going to cut it off with my pinking shears on both. Right. And then I'm going to cut this with my pinking shears, like so. Okay, kind of cute. So the next thing I'm going to do is stitch straight across all 4 of these, and I want this raw edge for here and here and here and here, because this is suddenly reminding me of like a railroad engineer's cap that my granddaddy used to have. And I don't know, but the raw edge just seems kind of appropriate. So here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to zigzag here. Now what will happen over time is that the little pinked edge will fray, but where I have stitched it, it will stay unfrayed. And then of course, while, oh, did I run out of thread? No. While I am aware that I've done the zigzag stitch here, I'm going to be straight stitching these to the bag. So let's see what that's going to look like. The other thing I have to do is make my hem on the top of this bag. Okay, so I'm going to fold this under. And fold it again right on top of itself and clip. Now that's where the side seam is, so I'm going to flip this around and do it again on this side. I'm using this as my visual guide. So let's open that up and hold that down, and then if I just fold it right back on top of itself, yep, they match. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing, but look, when I pull, it just kind of curls in on itself. So this is how it turned out on the top. It's the inside, that's the outside, and it's, you know, obviously it's got a little bit more body to it due to the 2 rows of stitching. There we go. And now the handles. So all I have to do is measure how far apart they need to be. 12.5 inches. All right. So my next measurement needs to be from the top. I kind of think 3. Oh, it's 2. That's right. Okay. And when you're doing a handle, you kind of want to make sure everything is still lined up and you don't have fabric bunched underneath. So there she is. She's all finished. I love this little bag. I think we have a winner here for going to a small shop. If you're just going to be doing doing a little bit of shopping and you don't need a huge, ginormous, big bag to take with you, then this is perfect right here. I have not gone out to the mailbox to get the pattern that I will be using for Jessica's jumper. It is out there. It was delivered. Well, I say it's out there. It could be in somebody else's mailbox, but I think they've gotten that figured out now. But I did receive this sewing kit that I went ahead and opened because I had a question about thread and I wanted to look at this. So there it is, right there. I have basically 36 colors of thread. It is polyester. Now I've not opened it beyond just taking it out of the box. So we'll go ahead and there's, I think, a pull right here. We'll see what it looks like and what it feels like. Okay, so right away I notice that there's just a lot of plastic, a whole lot of plastic. So there was plastic wrapping the whole thing, and each of these is wrapped in plastic. Each little thread is wrapped in plastic, which kind of annoys me, but I mean, I'm sure that there's probably a lot of lint in the production of this thread. It feels really nice. Now, I thought that initially, I thought that about Sewology, which is the thread that you get at Hobby Lobby, and it just turned out to be a horrible, horrible thread. So I'm gonna have to give it a go to see. All right, here's one. It's not too bad. It isn't as smooth as Gutermann thread is, but it's not awful either. I do like the colors. So we have I see some jewel tones, I see some brights, and I see some muted tones, as well as your basic earth. So this is a purple, this is a brown, this is, I think, a darker brown. We have a burgundy and a bright red, and then there's, of course, the green row. There are some yellows and some other muted tones up here, and then just one white. I wanted white, but I didn't need gobs of white. What I needed was a bit of these types of colors. It was just getting ridiculous that I didn't have them. So that's what this purchase was. And then the other thing that I got, and I did not leave in the package because I wanted to check it, was the water soluble marking pencil. It is a Dritz product, D-R-I-T-Z, and I purchased it on Amazon. Purchased this on Amazon as well. Just cut it at an angle, and then it'll go right through the needle. Bobbin thread. And I realize my Bernina is pretty much old technology. It does not have all the fancy bells and whistles, but I don't mind. I like my sewing machine. All right, so I've got that loaded up. let's take this little guy and stitch. See what we think of this. It's interesting, it feels like it doesn't want to come through the system very well. Okay, all right, so there's the stitches. Not too bad. I'm going to cut this like you would if you were going to either insert a zipper or a flap or something. It actually looks pretty good. I don't see any issues with it. It seems to be playing fairly nicely with the bobbin thread, which is a Gutermann. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to be making quite a few bags because October 1st of this year, 2021, is the very first day of the plastic bag ban in the state of Washington. I don't know what your state, if you don't live in the state of Washington, I don't know if your state will also have decided upon a plastic bag ban. So if you want to make your bags for your friends, for your family, if you want to give them as gifts to strangers, to those that you might meet out in the world, I suggest that we start saving our fabric scraps. Really the best thing you can do is repurpose items in your wardrobe that you no longer wear. So if you have older pants, older jeans, pajamas, I wouldn't recommend making these out of a knit fabric because they do stretch with use, but you know, a cotton shirt, even a cotton polyester shirt, a pair of blue jeans, duck pants that you don't wear anymore, some gabardines, some chinos, whatever you happen to have, they make perfect tote bags. And I think we're going to need sort of a variety of sizes. A smaller bag would be appropriate if you're not buying very much. A larger bag or more than one large bag might be appropriate if you're going to Costco or if you're going to, a store where you typically buy a lot of things. So bags that you might want to, double insulate would be for cold items. For bags that would be carrying heavy items like, a big jar of pickles or multiple cans of food, you might want to have a lining so that you've got that extra protection and a really comfortable strap. So kind of be thinking about what it is that you need. If you want to just kind of throw something together, you can make your own fabric. I love to do that. It's for me. First of all, it clears out your sewing closet. There's not a better feeling in this room than have a shelf on that closet that doesn't have something on it. So I recommend getting all your fabric together. Remember, it doesn't have to match. Almost every single fabric that you have in your stash will be sort of a descriptor of who you are. So if you put those fabrics together, and I mean, look at this mishmash. They are going to kind of represent you. I have flowers, I have horseshoes, I have kitties, I have pumpkins, I have other flowers, I have picnic fabric, I have the little fox fabric that I love. I mean, you know, there's just, it all says me. It is an expression of me. So no matter how I put all this together, it would be clearly something I made for me. And that's a really good point because, you know, if you're in the store and you see your bag running out the door accompanied by another person, then you know that they've taken your bag. You can spot it. It's not just some random plastic bag with maybe your stuff in it. So keep that in mind as well. I do recommend, this is just a suggestion, but if you have a plastic tote that you can put in your car or your truck, that's a good way to bring your groceries in to your house, because I know that not having bags can be difficult. You know, you don't want to carry in one can of food at a time. But if you leave your tote bags in that plastic bin in the vehicle after you've unloaded all the stuff, so put all the bags in the plastic bin and then carry that into the house as best you can. And then when you take the plastic bin back to the vehicle, take the totes with it. And then the next time you go to the store, you'll have your totes. You just reach in there, grab those totes, go shopping. You're all set, ready to go. It's just a new habit we have to form. So, on that note, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider doing so. We would love to have you join us. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.